Welcome to the MVP podcast, where we talk about anything NBA. I'm Sam Holcroft, alongside Geigh Zollicoffer and Payton Thompson. Before we begin, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP, follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. Today, we're going to do our first update of our custom NBA stock market game. Just going into it, I'll just bring up the top gainers and top losers. So the top gainers this week, Milwaukee Bucks, $10.17 a share, followed by the Pelicans, $6.79, the Lakers, $5.44, the Spurs, $4.16, and the Mavericks, $3.76. Other teams that gained money were the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Heat, the Warriors, the Cavs, the Thunder, the Pacers, the Bulls, the Rockets, the Jazz, the Hornets, the Blazers, and the Wizards. The teams that lost the most money, the Clippers lost the most at $7.94 a share, Grizzlies $6.90, Knicks $6.81, the Suns $6.24, and the Wolves at $5.94. Other teams that lost money were the 76ers, the Hawks, the Nets, the Raptors, Magic, and the Pistons. So Geigh gained the most money over the last 2 weeks at $526.79. Payton was the second most, gaining $148.60, and I gained $89.59. So guys, we're still trying to figure out this formula a little bit. We didn't really know what to expect last week, but Geigh, you cracked the code. Just get the Bucks when they're expected to not be so good.
Yeah, exactly. I does this so it's really funny because obviously we know their winning percentage, but the EWR and the ESPN, it is basically the points scored over the points scored plus the points allowed. So that basically means that you want a team that you're incentivized to choose people without decisive wins. They win, but they're not very decisive. And so with the Bucks, I think that's the Bucks. I guess I don't know, what do you call those teams? Frauds? I don't want to call them frauds, but then I'm calling the Lakers frauds. I don't think the Lakers are frauds. I think
Clippers.
Yeah, well, the Clippers, here's the thing about that. If the Clippers are the lowest gainer, that means they lost a lot of close games. And yeah, it means they lost a lot of close games, but when they won by a lot. They won by a lot, right?
Yeah, so it's weird because it's hard to call that kind of team frauds necessarily. It's more so just inconsistent, I would say.
Yeah, so I guess that's how I thought. That's how I'm thinking about it right now. That Clippers had a lot of close losses, but actually I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers what was their margin of do you happen to know their average loss, the Clippers?
No, but I can look it up real fast.
I'm super interested in that. I think that has to deal with it.
I would guess 5 points.
5, they lose every game by 5.
Yeah.
So let's see. So they lost to the Lakers by 5.
Okay.
They lost to the Jazz by 2, and that's it. 5 and 2.
So 5 and 2. And then how much did they win? They had to have won probably by a lot. That's probably what it is.
12.
12.
Yeah.
40.
Yep.
16.
That's the formula.
Okay.
See? That's actually pretty funny. So by that, the team you want to pick is the team that frauds isn't the way. It's a team that wins what they're supposed to win and barely wins, but gets destroyed when they're supposed to lose. That's kind of funny.
Playing down to their competition, or no? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you'd say it.
You win. You steal games, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed. Here's the thing. I think the easiest way to do this is when you win, you want to win small. You lose, you want to lose big.
Big. You steal games, basically.
You also want to win the games you're not supposed to win.
Basically.
But we'll kind of see how this formula kind of changes over the next few weeks because, as you can tell, if you look in these two categories, they're the exact same just because the games that they've played in the last 2 weeks is the games that they've played this entire season. So now the recency bias could be a major factor going into this because who knows, maybe the Celtics are undefeated again. But then there's a team like the Heat that actually go 7 out of 7 next week,
Yeah.
even though they are 2-4 right now. So we'll kind of see, and then it'll obviously change their expected win percentage. So we'll see this kind of bounce all over the place. So let's go ahead and go. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess I can go into why I went to it, or do you want to go like why you made your changes? I'll go into why I made my changes.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about the team that you sold.
So I sold the Celtics because I think that they're going to have a lot of decisive wins this year. And after thinking about it, I want a team that's just going to be snatching wins out their soul, like just snatching wins from the building and running out. And to me, the Spurs are going to be doing that. The Spurs are going to get blown out some serious, but I think Victor Wembanyama can will them to win games that barely they shouldn't actually be winning. Now, is it going to be more than their win percentage? I don't know, but like they're gonna have. I think the Spurs are gonna be one of the best teams to steal games. You also want to invest in a team that is gonna blow leads but win those games, which is kind of spicy. So like, I think I wanted some of the Mavs. The Mavs usually have the worst defense in the league, and so they're throwing up these crazy high numbers in their games. So I expect the Mavs to have a huge fluctuation between like their points scored and points allowed. So we'll see what happens there. And then the Rockets just to see, like just because I think they're going to be in the same route where they're going to get just humbled constantly. And then I kept the other teams too because the Lakers tend to blow leads. The Pelicans tend to blow the Pelicans actually blew a lead. They actually blew like 2 leads these last 2. Like they had a large lead. I think they blew it against the Spurs. Actually, I think that's what happened. The Pelicans played the Spurs, right? I could be wrong. The Pelicans blew one of the largest leads in the season. So
Yeah, that was against the. Well, I think they actually came back from one of the biggest leads of the season.
Is that what it
That might be a
was?
different game you're thinking, though.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it just makes sense to. And then I think the Pacers. I'm still gonna hang on to the Pacers because I think they're gonna build towards that idea. I think the Pacers still are capable of getting destroyed. I don't think the Pacers will have a lot of decisive wins, but I think the Pacers are going to win a lot. That's what I think. I think they're going to be able to pull it off. Now they did barely lose to the Charlotte Hornets, so like I feel like if they would have won that one, I would have been right on the money. I feel like if they win that, their percentage shoots up one more, and then I'm getting more money from the Pacers. So I'm going to hold on to that idea. That's why I'm staying with the Pacers too. So yeah.
See, who's a team that you wanted to sell?
I mean, let's talk about my biggest seller, the Milwaukee Bucks. I do think that, they're not going to be this bad all season, but I don't have them being very good either. I think there's a lot of coaching questions. I think there's a lot of, fit questions there. So, I mean, I didn't necessarily look at this at the scope of what teams do I think are going to get better or worse. I think it's more so just I don't really want to deal with them as much. I don't really want to play the cards with them. I kind of just want to sell while they're high and kind of get out. But I think another team that I want to talk about is the Celtics. I kind of basically bought the Celtics shares from Geigh. So in that aspect, I think they're a team that by formula, I don't think they're gonna keep winning by a whole lot of points. I think Porzingis' health is a question mark. Their depth is a question mark. I don't think they're going to keep the same pace of being super dominant in their wins. I think their win margin is going to close a little bit, but I still have them being a really good team throughout the season. So I feel like they're a pretty good bet to get on. But also the Clippers adding James Harden, obviously they lose a couple of depth pieces, but I think the the incremental upgrade of getting James Harden versus those few bench pieces is going to help them out a lot. So I think this was a good time to grab some of those shares. And I can kind of just touch on my other stuff here. Rockets -5. I kind of just, for the same reasons with the Bucks, I just don't really know what I'm getting with the Rockets as much. This could be a big mistake. Maybe the Rockets have an impressive season, and they're winning games, and they lose a couple by a lot, but they win the games that maybe you don't expect them to. And so I just wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with them, so I kind of just wanted to get off of them while they're in the positive. As far as the Spurs, Blazers, and Lakers, I think those are all teams that I think can continue to be good, possibly have room to get better. So I put a little bit of shares into them, 2, 1, and 1 respectively. As far as the Pacers, it's probably one of the teams that I have the most faith in having a good season. To be honest, I kind of think the opposite of Gage. I think the wins they have, they're going to win by a lot, but I think the losses they have, they're going to lose in crunch time because they just don't have the front court talent. So that's kind of how I feel about them. And then as far as selling the Hawks, I just really haven't seen much improvement or like kind of what I wanted to see coming out from them. So I just sold a few shares of them, and I think they're gonna trade Clint Capella and kind of try to rework this roster a little bit when it gets closer to the trade deadline in December. So I kind of just wanted to get off of those now.
All right. So then with mine, I sold all 15 shares of the Suns that I had personally. 3 and 4 is not a good look for this team right now. I think Beal has he been playing at all? I don't think he's been playing
No,
quite
he
yet.
hasn't played a game.
Even with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, like, how are you not at least 500? And they were one of the biggest losers this last week. Their expected win percentage is 55. You look at the other teams like the Nuggets. We're going to exclude the Bucks, but the Nuggets are at 80%. The Celtics 93%. 76ers is at 86%. Warriors 67. Like other teams that are like expected to be good this season have a high expected win percentage, and they've been making money, whereas the Suns sub 500 and losing money. So until they can show me something, or maybe even until Bradley Beal comes back and has been playing a couple games, I'm gonna stay out of the Suns. I sold the Knicks, 5 of the Knicks. I think it was the only Knicks that I had. 5 Grizzlies, the only Grizzlies that I had. And then half of my Clippers shares, which is 5, just because they were on the top losers. I just with the Knicks and Grizzlies, I don't see them moving in the right direction. I think they're just praying until Ja comes back. The next month and a half it's gonna be a while. The Knicks just haven't really been impressing me all too much. Yeah, they're 2-4, but I didn't like their schedule coming up. And the Clippers, only reason I kept some is because James Harden's coming back, and their expected win percentage is very high. So I think that like with this upcoming week, or next 2 weeks, their expected win percentage is going to start going down a little bit, and then they're going to start winning a little bit more, even though they're 3-2 right now. Teams that I added the Bucks. I don't think that they're going to be slowing down any much. I think their expected win percentage isn't going to jump up significantly, so might as well hop on while that expected win percentage is low. Schedule is kind of iffy. I got 5 of the Lakers, 5 of the Mavs. Both of them, I kind of like their schedule this upcoming weeks. Some easy wins, but also a few hard teams that could maybe skew that expected win percentage down. And then I got 2 of the Spurs just because they're 300, and they also have one of the lowest expected win percentages, so they can be a little bit under 500. Then they're going to just keep making money. So why not?
Yeah, you sort of want teams that are gonna steal a lot of wins, basically, but like bad teams, but like teams that will win close games. So like crunch time teams, but when they're blown out, they just throw the game away. And that's sort of, I guess, the Bucks. I think the Bucks, like I would imagine that, yeah, they lost. Every game they lost was blown out, but every game they won was like by barely. So that's the teams you want to get. It's just kind of clear to me. And I think the Spurs, but the key point is they have to win. If they're not winning, then you're just
Yeah.
So I think the Spurs still have a lot of steals left in them. Like I think they'll be able to steal a lot of games this year. And I think the games that they have no business being in, maybe they get blown out. That's fine. That helps my case. That being blown out lowers your expected win percentage. But stealing games, kind of it's stagnant.
Yeah. And I mean, we can just looking at how goofy this formula can be. We have a team that went 1-5 with the Wizards and made money, and we have a team who's 3-2 like the Clippers. Not only lose money, but they are also the biggest loser.
Well, yeah, because if you think of the Wizards, let's think about why that could happen. The Wizards went 1-5. That means they suck. That means that they are losing the games. I think they're getting blown out in good fashion. So they're just getting blown out. And so it's expected.
Yeah. But just one thing I wanted to show. So on the bottom here, we're going to keep track of all of our buys and sells, which we'll do. I just want to look at, first this. So this is our stock market game from last year. And here is our stock market chart. I kept track of the stocks throughout the entire season, and you see the Celtics and Bucks kind of go all the way up there. But for the most part, everything's kind of intertwined. But stuff doesn't get super intertwined until about halfway through the season. Then you can't really tell, where they started from. But at the beginning, you could tell. You see that? But if we go back and look at this is going to be crazy. Oh, look how volatile that is.
Yeah.
All over the place. So who knows what really is going to be happening over these next 4.5 months, with the stock market game, because, with how volatile this is, we could see someone who started with a $20 stock climb up and be a top 5 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't expect that, but with how this formula works, who knows?
Yeah, I think once I see the Bucks actually winning decisive wins, that's when I'm jumping ship, because that means the expected win percentage is going to go up, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you guys need to add?
I don't think so. I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
I'm happy to.
All right. Well, we'll see what these next 2 weeks bring us. Maybe we'll strike gold again, or who knows. But PT, I'm just glad you didn't get rid of all your bucks. Otherwise, if they gain another $10, yikes.
Well, I might be hurting, but we'll have to see where they go at in the season.
Yep. But once again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP. Follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. I've been Sam Holcroft.
And Geigh Zollicoffer.
I've been Payton Thompson.
Thanks for listening.